You are now tuned in to the Middle Initial Podcast, bitch. Now everybody pod nowadays, but it pays when you listen to Jude, Kevin, Case, and in case you missed it, get your spirits lifted. Man, New York's getting covered just to be specific. When the beast will kick it, you get back. Yeah, listen one time, I promise you come back. Now we switching up a topic, you know that we come pack. And I don't wanna say it, but bitch, we want plaques. In fact, we need that. Cause ain't nobody talk like the boys. It don't matter who you like or employ. We've been the best for a minute. Big brains could've went to MIT, but we like talking shit. Here's the MIP.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Andrew L. Case. You are now tuned into the Middle Initial Podcast. Today's July 24th, 2023. And I'm here with my co-hosts as usual, Jude A. Jackson and Kevin A. Lewis. Notice that this is audio only, no video. My laptop is in the shop. I've been betrayed by technology in 2023. Is that safe to say, guys?
Yeah, I mean, your laptop decided to act like Zach Wilson. So
your laptop has syphilis. It sounds like it has syphilis or something.
So, yeah, I don't know what's worse, Zach Wilson's quarterback player or an STD, but I think they'll get the point by now.
Well, whatever it is, my laptop either has check down issues or it had a long weekend or something. Maybe he was hanging out with Sam Darnold and got mono. I don't know. But
your computer gets pussy is what you're saying?
Hey, somebody has to log in to Spank Bang. It's gonna be
Spank Bang.
Somebody got to do it right. That's the dangers, I guess. But no, yeah, my something's wrong with my USB port. So I can't hook my camera up, I can't hook the mic up. I took it to the Geek Squad guys. It's really useless. So shout out to Geek Squad for doing nothing.
So why'd you take it to them if they can't do nothing?
Because it was under warranty and stuff like that. It's insured. So I thought, hey, pay this, $100 and some odd dollars for this coverage. For them just to tell me, well, we're going to send it out anyway. It should be done within a week and a half. So hopefully sometime this week I get a call. Then my laptop is back to normal, and we could get back to the video and stuff. So sorry, YouTube, no YouTube this week. But shout out to the patrons, the guys who support us. You guys are going to get the audio tomorrow. Jude's going to be in charge of that. So if you guys don't get the audio on time, blame Jude, not me, this week for it. But
you're giving me an invitation to blame Jude?
The green light.
I didn't need one, but thanks.
Wow, sheesh.
I didn't need one, but thanks. Thank you.
The green light on Jude.
Oh, but I got the 3-year green light to swing. I love it.
But it was a great weekend for the pod. Great weekend for the pod. We were at the training camp on Saturday. Well, not everybody. Kev had a previous engagement, but myself, Dan, Jude, and shout out to Khalil, man. Khalil's the second year that Khalil has gone to camp with us. Last year was August. This year he came on the first day that fans were around. And always a great person to have around, around in the Discord and as a patron.
Cool, he's cool.
Yeah, he's real cool dude, real smart, knowledgeable guy, man.
Shout out to Khalil.
Shout out, man. Listen, we have a lot to cover from Saturday's camp, a lot to cover in general. But let's start with Kev. Kev, how was your weekend? Because you already know what me and Jude did, so let's find out what's Kev going on with you.
Oh man, it was good. Had some shit to do. Did it. Outside of that, wasn't nothing to it. Was following intently the training camp. Can't say reports; those are not reports, but the pictures and the video and so on and so forth from y'all. So nothing too crazy on my end.
That's what's up.
And I see you had a nice conversation with old Woody.
Hey, listen. Kev. I want to paint this as a picture of greatness, because it seems like, that's what it is. But I can't even tell you honestly how that happened other than just standing there and just hoping, something crazy happened. And that's what happened. So
Oh, no, Case, you gotta lie, man. This is where you lie. Like you lie and act like this was some grand master plan. Nah, man, we gotta. Can we delete this? Can we delete this from? Nah, like this is happened by accident. No, it happened because you're a fucking go getter. That's why it happened. Lie to these people.
Listen, I embellish a lot. I embellish a lot on Twitter. And I'm going to give you guys a layout of what happened and how that whole interaction and stuff like and stuff went down. But I wanted to start off top like this. Aaron Rodgers has brought a level of excitement that I've never seen personally ever. And that's the reason I'm saying when I say personally ever, I'm saying why. Because I just started going to training camp last year, right? So I'm not a seasoned OG, you know what I mean? I don't know how seasoned Jude is with training camps.
That was my first one last year. Last year's my first one too.
So we're on the same page. We just started, right? So I can only give contrast from last year, this year. So I wasn't there for Favre camp. I was there for Favre when he came. I didn't go to preseason, regular season games. It still wasn't crazy, like packed in MetLife when Favre was there. Because even the preseason wasn't that crazy, and the regular season wasn't that crazy. I mean, they were playing. I think they played the at the time the Redskins. I don't think I was preseason, the regular season, but even though the atmosphere was there, I can't put it in words and say that it's the same. I didn't go to any Jets games when they were good, when they had Rex Ryan and stuff like that. I was at home for those games, But I know that the stadium was rocking, and we had Hard Knocks. I will say the comparison from last year to this year, Kev, it's night and day. Like night and day. It's such a the first thing last year. It took us a while just to get to the practice facility because they only had Sprinter vans. This year they had school buses. It was there was more people. That they on record, I think they said 2,000 people came Saturday. I'm gonna say right now, from the parking lot to the actual facility, it was multiple people. Of course, a lot of talks were like, oh, bandwagon, fair weather fan talk, whatever. But let's be realistic. As a person like Kev, who refuses to do anything Jets related in person, unless something is worth it. Kev, was there any reason for you to go to any training camp before Aaron Rodgers came to
No, absolutely not.
Right.
No.
So I don't
if
get
just focusing on the Jets part of things. No, there was no reason. No.
Right. And Jude, I mean, we went to camp last year. I think it was just because of the podcast stuff, right? It was like, hey, let's go. Excitement for year 2, but we've been friends for about 5 years now. Yeah. None of us were like, let's go to camp. None of us said let's go to training camp. So the excitement that Joe Douglas brought last year.
Jude was smart enough to not hit us with that. Cause I know Jude is super out of his mind excited for anything Jets related. But even he was smart enough to not hit us with that bullshit because he knew what would have happened.
Right.
Jeez,
I'm lying?
I saved the energy for the games, but yeah.
You mean like the one where Bryce Petty and Case Keenum were facing off? That one where you paid American dollars to attend?
We don't have to do this. We brought this up every time we spoke.
Yeah, because it's so fucking egregious that I can't help myself.
It's run its course, Kev.
No, it has not actually. No.
It's 2023. This happened.
It's always going to be relevant, though, Drew. That's the thing. We do a Jets related podcast. It's always going to be relevant.
It's 2023, Kev. It's over.
I don't give a fuck.
We have Aaron.
Yeah, I know what fucking year it is.
We have Aaron Rodgers now. We don't need to worry about this.
You act like I can't do two things at once. That's the funniest thing about this. We have Aaron Rodgers. No need to bring up the past, bro. I could do both, especially when it comes time to dunk on you. I could do both.
But Jude, to Kev's point though, he's right exact to the point that going to a regular season game is different from just willingly line up for training camp and go see a guy like Ryan Fitzpatrick, you know what I mean, or stuff like that. So, and that was one of the first things that I noticed. Like, of course, the amount of people, but how efficient they moved to get those people there. There was no urgency last year to get people from the parking lot, to the training facility. it was like, hey, we have a sprinter. We have like sprinter vans. I think they held like maybe 20 something people. I don't know. But the line was long too. But they were taking their time. I pulled up, and my expectation was, man, I'm running behind. I'm not going to get into the facility by until 10:30. No, they were like, I literally was online for maybe 10, 15 minutes, and we got on the bus because the first bus went out, and then they counted for the second one, and boom, I'm on the bus. And I ran to Claudio. Shout out to Claudio from Mountain City Crew. Of course, my guy, man. We had a great conversation. We were hanging out for a little bit before we went in there. So yeah, that was like I ran to a bunch of people. It was crazy. Getting there, of course, the covered bleachers. The bleachers were covered compared to last year. I think they added an additional bleachers outside of the family bleachers. I think that and Jude, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Was that additional bleachers for media? Because I think media had their own bleacher section.
I don't exactly remember that. I know with this year's bleachers, they put the shade on it this time. I remember last year, I think it was all out in the heat and everything, but this year they definitely put the shade on the bleachers. They were enforcing, they had some crazy enforcements too. They were like, no leaning on the fence and all that stuff. So they were definitely more active. There were guys looking like in the military, acting like bouncers in terms of like in front of the goalposts and everything. I'm like, sheesh, okay.
Right. It definitely felt a little tight in comparison to last year, where it felt a little loose. Especially with the fans. Now, this is the part where the fan thing comes into play. Because last year, we're sitting about a railing, we're taking photos. This year, down in front, boom, blah. Like, people were being very rude that they couldn't see. And nothing was going on, Kev. Like, it was like walkthroughs. Like, nobody was doing anything major. Like, they were like, faking plays and stuff like that. People were upset, like, we're sitting down, go sit down. Like, yo, relax. Like, we're taking photos. And somebody yelled at somebody from the staff. And she's a social media person. And she, like, I work for the team. And he was like, so you need to get out the way. And I was like, wow. So I told Dan, I said, Dan, I don't want to get kicked out of training camp. And so let's just move and find seats because I don't want to get in a fight with nobody or argue with nobody in training camp. Because I'm pretty sure if that happens, we'll be banned for life. You know what I mean? So we found some seats. Jude wasn't there yet. So me and Khalil found seats, Dan take photos. I ran to Miss Becton, Mama B. Shout out to Miss Becton. She's been very instrumental to myself and Makai, having conversations about the new shirt that we produced and everything like that. The shirt is out. It's on MIPod store. So if you guys are familiar with our merchandise, check out www.mipod.store. It's the House of Pain 2 shirt with Makai Becton. He wanted to be positive with the message and imagery and stuff like that. So when I sent her the first draft, she was like, I think he wants to be more positive. And I said to him, he said, no, take all that other stuff off and just put, this one phrase, which is I'm him. And then we put the House of Pain ticket over his mouth. So I wore that shirt. Miss Becton wore, Mama B wore her shirt as well. So I ran to her. Finally got to meet in person. So again, shout out to Mama B. But it was boring though. I'd say that much. It was boring to be in under the shade and stuff like that. Kind of boring. There was some excitement when, like later on during the day, we'll get to that. But this is how I got to meet Woody Johnson, pretty much. So I told Khalil, like, yo, bro, this is whack. You know what I mean? They're not really doing much. They broke into position groups, and it's like, we're just sitting here in the shade around a bunch of people. So I said, let's go meet up with Dan. And Dan was like taking photos, and Jude had just came in. So Jude was taking. So we went around, and they're by the one of the fields by the goalpost, whatever. So Hard Knocks is out there and everything like that. All of a sudden, a helicopter flies in, right? And we're like, yo, who's coming out this helicopter? Right? Who's coming out the helicopter?
Bobby Brown.
Right. I'm like, who's? Who's coming? That's Hulk Hogan. I'm like, Hulk Hogan, Lex Luger? Like, who's coming in this helicopter? Like, what's going on? Nobody comes out. But at the same time, Woody Johnson's already on the field. He's talking to people. He leaves where he's at to come to the sidelines. So I'm standing maybe, I want to say 10, 12 yards away. But so was Dan, so was, Jude, and so was Khalil. But somebody moved and gave us like space to stand. So we're like in between, we're standing there. So he walks over, he comes directly to me, and the conversation is about my shirt. the Mekhi Becton shirt. So we get into that, I'm him and all that stuff, whatever.
Wait. Before you go on, I know that part of the conversation. This is the old white man portion of the conversation. Just want to give that disclaimer to the people to give a slant on where it's headed. Keep on going, Case.
Wow.
Truth.
So he asked me about the phrase "I'm him," and I'm like, he's heard it, but he doesn't really know, like in passing. So I'm just giving the whole thing about empathy and all that stuff, whatever. A lot of the young kids, say I'm him, whatever. So then he asked, "What are you excited about? You know what I mean? Like, do you like what you see?" So I'm like, I'm gonna keep it real. I've been a fan for a long time. It's the first time I've seen it like this. And he was like, "What about the quarterback?"
Oh, so he brought it up.
Yes. So there's video. There's video. Shout out to the man Khalil for recording this video.
Right.
And it's what I was telling Kev, I'll say right in Discord. I'm like, Woody Johnson, without saying it, but basically said it. Yo, if anybody has faith in Zach Wilson developing and coming back or doing whatever, please drop it. Please drop it. Because Woody was basically saying, how is it, it's like good to have a quarterback, right? A quarterback can throw from here to here and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. I mean, he told you that. He told everyone that at the very beginning of this offseason, told Case, like everyone who's associated with the Jets were like, we need a quarterback. And they said it out loud. It wasn't even like, hey, we'll give Zach a chance.
Yeah, there was no secret.
They were obvious. They were like, we need a quarterback. But him saying it again. Go on, Kevin.
Him saying it again.
Go ahead. And while I understand the business side of it, and this is one of the rare Woody moves that actually makes sense both from business and football. But like the Jets were showing hope for a 39-year-old quarterback, like for months, bro. Like they told us what they thought a long time ago. Showing hope, bro.
Full on display. Like if you want it, it's yours.
Like, no secret, no pasties, no censorship, no censorship, none of that. Just showing hope outright.
So when he goes, he says that about a quarterback to throw it, but then he directly speaks on last year, and he sounded like a fan, like somebody would say, "Hey, if we had a quarterback last year." He basically highlighted like, hey, it fell apart during this time. This is when it fell apart. Again, it's about a minute and maybe 51 seconds of conversation between myself and Woody Johnson. But any fan who think that this is an opportunity for Zach to learn and probably come back and be the future quarterback, I promise you this: they're not picking up a $50 or $30 million option. Unless something dramatic and drastic happens during the season. When the owners speak so candidly about the quarterback change to anyone, especially me. I've said on podcast, like you can say it to anybody else. I said to him, I'm from MI Pod, you know what I mean? Melissa Podcast, I'm a podcast. In Jude, like Jude's there, Khalil's there, whatever. I'm a podcast. So you can say that to anybody else. You say it to me, it's on video. I'm going to say it. Like, I'm going to say it. It's like public knowledge, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to say what he said. I'm going to give the patrons the exclusive video so they can see, verbatim and hear what he said. But you can say that to anybody. Don't say that to me. Because there are people around us. Like I said, Jude's there, Khalil's there, Dan's there. Other fans are hearing what he's saying. Mm-hmm. They're not going to go back and say, whatever. But I am. But yeah, we spoke for a little bit in the school, dapped up, whatever. Told me he didn't work on his dap. Got to work on your dap. Told him that.
Man, dapped up Woody Johnson. There's a lot that went on that's a little inconsistent with Case's beliefs in general, but I'm not going to get too far into that.
Hey,
get too far into that.
There was a lot of feel good energy. And I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that. I'm gonna talk about something else that nobody saw happen.
Oh,
I get into camp. I walk in. I see Dan and I see Khalil. Whatever. But at one point in time, we kind of separate. I run into somebody from Jets Lounge, current, formerly, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm going to say his name because there's no disrespect when I say this, but Justin for Ocho, whatever, ran into him.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to be clear. The reason I'm bringing this up is because I want to be clear about certain things that those who know the Jets Lounge saga. Before anything happened, I came to Kev, I came to Jude about the situation, and I asked them, I cleared it with them. I cleared everything with Dan, Jude, and Kev before I said anything on Twitter. I never mentioned Jets Lounge. I never mentioned anybody individually. I never mentioned any person in any parties involved. When I said what I said, a lot of people came to me. And a lot of people said things to me, right? And some things were nasty things that I want people to stand on. And other things were just like cowardly things. Justin 48 Ocho never said nothing to me on my personal page or the podcast page that I remember. But I know he was saying some things. I don't know what he was saying directly, but I know he was saying something. That man came up to me as a man and said, "Hey, man, am I fine?" I'm like, "Yeah, what's going on?" He said, "Yeah, Justin, blah, blah." He was like, "Yo, man, I wasn't involved in any of that. I got a daughter, X, Y, and Z. When this is going down, I spoke such and that." And I'm going to tell him, like I told everybody, no matter what I say on social media, right? I am outside. And I looked at that man as I shook his hand. And I shook his hand and let him know, I respect you as a man for stopping and coming to me and just saying, "Hey, I wasn't involved in whatever." Because we never had no beef. Me and him never had any beef. We never had any words, any exchange that was negative that I can recall. I think BB has said maybe one thing about what went down, but nothing crazy. But when you bring up the Woody situation, I know I've said things about Woody going to UK, working with Trump and stuff like that. And Woody doesn't know me personally. So he doesn't know what my opinions or whatever.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, yes.
You only lose confidant in like 6 months.
And it's the rare opportunity, Woody, and he told me, he said, don't call me Mr. Johnson, call me Woody. And so I got the green light.
I want to call him. Were you calling him Mr. Johnson?
Well, I mean, so my thing is, you never know how to address certain people. So I'll say, I said, Mr. Johnson. And then we were talking, and he was like, no, you heard me. And he was like, it's not Woody. He said, no, Paul, it's Paul Woody, blah, blah. But
we're learning a lot of things about Case. We're learning a lot of things.
Mr. Johnson, fuck out of here.
We're learning a lot of things about Case today. I was not expecting a Mr. Johnson from Case. I mean,
listen. I have to represent the podcast brand. I have to represent the brand. I don't be kicked out of nobody's training camp because because I want to be too crazy. You know what I mean?
I had no idea Case was such a big Woody Johnson fan. No idea. I'm learning new things about my man's.
We're going to see him on Sunday Night Football
and Mister and all of that. Like, this is crazy.
We're going to see Case on Sunday Night Football next to Woody Johnson in the suites. Like they're going to show the camera. It's like, oh shit, Case.
Listen, and let me turn this real shameless real fast. If Case was to ever get that opportunity, I have no problem being Lloyd Banks to his 50 Cent. Case would understand exactly what I'm saying with that.
Exactly.
I have no problem. I have no problem. I have no problem being carried along for the ride. As long as I'm doing my part, I'll do my part. I have no problem with being carried along for the ride. So just keep that in mind when Woody is calling you for your services next year or next season. Thank you.
If the opportunity ever came up, of course I would speak on the things that were said, but I'm not at training camp to grill nobody. I'm at training camp to enjoy myself. And it was an unexpected moment. It was a dope moment. Shout out to Woody Johnson for taking time to speaking to fans, taking time speaking to me.
Man, this is the most positive this podcast has ever been about Woody Johnson. Holy hell. It's like 8 minutes of nonstop positivity about Woody Johnson. This is incredible.
I was not expecting it myself.
Hey man, I didn't expect him to be on the sideline. I didn't expect him to come over and talk to fans. I expect him to come over and talk to me.
Man, the white man talks the Case for 3 minutes, and here we are. This is insane.
I'm selling this out, but I'm selling this out.
This is insane. After all that shit he's been talking about Woody on this podcast, he talks to him for 3 minutes, and all of a sudden, Woody is great. I love him.
You know,
What's
randomly, I
up?
just thought about it, but did you see Joe Douglas out there anywhere? I didn't see
No,
Joe.
no, no.
I didn't see Joe Douglas. That was
Joe
I saw
Douglas and his bowling ball head are impossible to miss. So I'm assuming he would have told us if he saw him.
right. He was not there. I don't think he was there at all. Period. Definitely saw Salah. Salah was kind of like not MIA, but he was kind of like he was there. I took the picture of them of Woody and Salah talking.
He was too busy studying Patriots film because they did a true test.
Are you really going to do? Are you really going to do this, Kev?
Yes, I am.
We don't have to bring this up.
Yes, I am. And this is not going to be the first time I do it on this particular podcast episode either. Just let you know that it's not going to be the first time.
This doesn't have to be brought up, Kev.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. You be digging around the Patriots way too hard for me not to bring it up. Way too hard.
I don't. All I literally said was,
Jude, do you want to fast forward to the part where we talk about what you said in the Discord today, or no?
all I said. In fact, we will, because there wasn't much that really happened so far. All I said about the Patriots was the Jets should wear their new, very nice throwback uniforms versus the Patriots. You don't have to wear them versus the Chiefs. Wear them versus the Patriots.
But you do this thing where you leave out the necessary context. That was the first fucking thing you said. Like, it wasn't like it was like somebody else brought up like who they should wear them against. None of that. It was just, I like the uniforms. They should wear them against the Patriots. That was it. That was it. Like, nobody brought them up except you.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't think that's odd at all? Mm-hmm. Once again, I'd like to remind you, as somebody who's older than you, somebody who's been watching football a lot longer than you, not saying this as a flex, it's the truth. The Patriots are not the Jets' biggest rival. They're just not. Like, you might hate them more because they win more, but they're not the biggest rival of the Jets. That's the Dolphins. That rivalry goes back way longer. And there's way more bad blood there. It's just Miami, much like the Jets, have been pathetic for like the last 15 years.
That is true. Well, it's Rex Ryan. It was just, you see Rex Ryan, don't kiss Bill Belichick's rings. I'm like, you know what? You know what? Hold on.
Why is it okay for you to bring up the past, but it's not okay for me to do it? Like, when it's
not okay for me to do it either.
I can't make jokes about the past, but you could bring up Rex, who had 2 fucking good seasons in the NFL as a head coach. But God forbid I bring up Alex Smith to take a dump on how shitty a quarterback he was. Oh, it's the past. We have Aaron Rodgers now. Why are you concerned about those things? As if I can't do 2 things at once.
Mm.
Why?
I was just saying. That's all. That's all it was.
And then you can bring up the Patriots past if anybody gives a fuck when they got the ugly, stupid ass racist playing quarterback for them now. Like, why are you to bring up the past?
Well, I mean, I'm just saying. If I were the person assigning uniforms to what team you'd wear them against, I'd be like, hey, wear the throwbacks against the Patriots. Wear them against the Bills.
Why though? Why?
Why? I mean,
why?
Because
you know what? No, let me ask you a series of questions. As a matter of fact, are the Patriots favored to win the division this year?
Not even close.
Would it be a shock if the Patriots won a division this year?
I'd be very shocked. Like,
are the Jets playing the Patriots on prime time?
They actually are not. They're playing at 1 o'clock.
Okay. Are the Patriots even remotely interesting?
Relevant in 2023.
I mean, Bill Belichick might get fired if they don't do well, but that's about it.
That's not interesting, and he's not getting fired. That'll be a mutual parting of ways. We know how this goes. So they're not relevant. They don't play them in prime time, and the Patriots are not expected to be any good. But the Jets, who are expected to be good, are very relevant for better or worse, are supposed to unveil their legacy uniforms against the Patriots because Rex Ryan used to be good at coaching 14 years ago. I just want to make sure I'm following all of this, and I want to tie it up in one big knot. Is that the case?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and you don't realize how ridiculous that sounds. I just want to make sure I'm following.
When you put it that way, it doesn't make much sense to unveil the uniforms versus the Patriots when you put it that way.
And yet you brought up the Patriots for no good reason. And yet when I bring them up as a way to dunk on you, I'm somehow the bad guy. That doesn't make I'm the bad guy for enough shit. We don't have to make nothing up. We really don't. You don't have to make nothing up.
Sad for me, dude. Very sad.
Very sad. Like I want better for you.
Wow.
Like at least when Tom Brady was there and he was winning all the fucking time, it made some kind of sense. Like I don't know why you were genuflecting in front of them all the time, but they won all the time. It made sense. A guy named McCorkle is their quarterback. What the fuck are we doing?
That's the funny thing. When Brady was there, you didn't have to say true test. We already knew who the test was.
We already knew it. We already knew who it was, and Jude would never let us forget it. And it's like, okay, we get it though. Like now there's nothing to even hang on. Okay, like they won 8 games last year. Wow, congratulations. They've won 0 playoff games since Tom Brady left. Wow, congratulations. Lovely.
Okay.
Just sad. Let it go. Let go 2009. Let go of 2010. Let it go. There were other seasons after that. Just let it go.
Like, bro, Jude woke up in the middle of the night to get to the Discord and tell us that Rex Ryan, this is the team that Rex Ryan deserved. Dude woke up in a sweat.
You're really going to put that out there? Wow.
Wait, Cam, come on, man. This stuff's behind the paywall. We can't give him too much.
Oh,
wow.
My fault. Sorry.
We need to save some intrigue for the people.
Yes.
Yo, sign up for the Discord so you can see Jude kiss Rex Ryan's ass all the time. Sign up. If you haven't, please do so. Thank you.
My God.
A lot of people were asking me about what did I see in training camp. It was the first day, right? There's no pads, right? There's no pads. Helmets with the I don't know with that pushing cap over the top. I'll talk on a couple of things that may or may not be important. Before it came out about the rumors about the Becton, not rumors, but Rick Cimini, and then he was kind of like water carrying about Becton. Becton was working with the second unit. I did find that odd that he's working with the second unit and not the first unit on training camp.
Why would that be odd?
Because he's working on the second unit at left tackle, not right tackle. On the side, though, he looked like he's practicing for the right position on the side. So when he wasn't engaging, like he was like doing some reps or working on his technique for right tackle, but practice left tackle. But Dwayne Brown's not there. So Max Mitchell was there at right, and I think it was what's his name? Hunter? What's his name? Is it Hunter? What's the name? The guy they signed? I forgot his name.
From the Packers. I forget it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Swing tackle. I forget his name.
Yeah, he was swing tackle.
Yeah,
but he was there at playing left. The reason why I say it's odd, and it's actually his name is Turner.
Right. Yep.
The reason why I say it's odd, and I'll say something real quick about Turner. Turner was talking to some fans on the side. I kind of caught bits and pieces of the conversation. Turner wants to win now, right? Turner's like, look, hey, I've got much time left in the league. I've been in the league, I think, doing it for 10 years, right? He wants to win now. So he's not going to be here. He's not going to answer long term, right? Dwayne Brown's going to retire after this season, not answer long term. So there's going to be a whole left tackle anyway, right? Max Mitchell at right is unproven. And then whatever else you have in the mix. The trade rumors to me make no sense, seeing that you got a 39-year-old, 40-year-old coming off of two torn rotator cuffs, a swing tackle who pretty much is like, hey, I've been here in the league for 10 years. I'm about to hang it up.
There's a reason he's a swing tackle.
And of course, there's a reason he's a swing tackle. Unproven Max Mitchell at right, and I think it was somebody else. If the Jets are going to trade Mekhi Becton, and I mean, you're guessing like if camp goes well and he gets some reps at the starting tackle position, maybe, especially when they put pads on this week, I think they put pads on Tuesday, maybe it starts to pick up. But what kind of compensation do you think that's going to get back for Mekhi Becton? Who hasn't played?
That's the part that doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, you're not going to get a ton back for him. And even if you want to say, let's pretend Mekhi Becton ends up not starting. I don't really know what sense that would make, but I'll elaborate on that further. Like, having him as a backup tackle is not exactly the worst idea, especially, again, when you're relying on a borderline 40-year-old quarterback. But the thing with the Mekhi thing is, when you say the kind of shit that he said about the coaching staff, this is how the reaction is. It's not just Jets related, but we're talking about the Jets. Like other coaching staffs react the same way when guys say shit about them. Like they'll punish them in their little ways. They'll run them on second team and they'll quote unquote make them earn it and blah 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 whatever the fuck else. Like I mean, we saw it with Elijah where he demanded the trade. You know, cursed out the offensive coordinator. Blah blah blah. Then what is it? They sent him home. They suspended him for a game and they basically didn't play him the rest of the year, or at least they didn't play him a regular amount of snaps the rest of the year. So that's just what it is. Like the coaching staff and him and Makai rather are at odds, and this is a direct result of that. Because if Makai had said nothing and just said, "All right, I'm gonna bust my ass, I'm gonna get back. Yeah, I'm gonna talk my talk, but it's mostly gonna be positive around me and how I gotta get better." I guarantee you he would not be taking second team reps. Guarantee you he would. But he said what he said. The Jets and him, at least based on what I hear from behind the scenes, they don't really fuck with each other. It's just one of them arranged marriages. Like, all right, we got one more year together. They don't really fuck with each other. Obviously, Makai doing well benefits everybody. So like that's what the common goal is. They don't like each other. The Jets don't like him. He don't like them. Allegedly. Let me just throw that in there. Allegedly. So none of this is surprising. They're not trading him, though. That'd be if they trade him and go into this with Dwayne Brown and Max Mitchell and Billy Turner or Bobby Turner or Tina Turner, whatever the fuck his name is. I don't remember what his first name is. Excuse me. Rest in peace, Tina Turner. But if they go into it with that, like, you got to question, like, what the hell are we doing here? You've had, 4 years now Douglas has had to fix the line, for one. And for two, you brought in a 40-year-old quarterback, and you're going to protect him at that? Like, good luck.
Right. And that's why the trade thing doesn't make sense. Like, it feels like, okay, with Moore and Mims, you pretty much got the replacements, right? Even though I feel like we all feel like Moore has more talent than the guys he brought in. It still felt like, he went, a bridge too far. He said too much, right? People thought they had hope for Mims, and he just, I know he would press it out for a couple of years back, and he was trying to be on like the good ship lollipop since then. But that combined with the lack of talent and playing time, it didn't make any sense. You see what they got for him. They got a sixth round pick, conditional sixth, whatever.
25.
And I don't see what you get for Becton unless he's actively playing and showing that he's healthy and he's, you know what I mean? So if you're trading him now, Dude.
I just want to say, the thing is, if he's actively playing, unless he somehow regresses so badly from like his rookie year, he's going to be playing so well. It's like, why would you trade a stud left tackle? What compensation would possibly be worth trading a stud left tackle for a 40-year-old quarterback? Unless for some reason the Chiefs want to give away Patrick Mahomes for Mekhi Becton, in that case, go ahead. But besides that, like seriously, like that's the only time I entertain a trade like that. Like, sure, give us Patrick Mahomes. But besides that, it's like, why would you trade your stud left tackle? If he's playing well, if he's playing well, he's probably doing a good job blocking. Aaron Rodgers, the guy you sold out for. Why would you trade him? It doesn't make any logical sense.
Yeah, but there is an obvious rub, and I'll say this much: when I posted the picture of Makai and his mom and everything like that, Miss Beckham wasn't supposed to be there Saturday. She had plans to be out of the country. So when I spoke to her, she was like, he wanted me to come in. And he retweeted and said, hey, I wasn't feeling good. I wanted my mom to come through. And partnered that vibe with the swirling, I wouldn't even say swirling, with the alleged supposedly idea of being traded. It just, I want the Jets to really, I want them to get over themselves. Like, in this situation, get over yourselves. Right. You're not in the position to trade anybody of that line. You know what I mean? Especially somebody who's young and who has lost 50 plus pounds, and we know his upside is tremendous if he plays. You don't want to move that guy for a 6th round pick, and then God forbid Dwayne Brown, who hasn't practiced yet, doesn't have it all, and then you're really in a fucking hole because you're missing your potential starter and this, your veteran star, and then you're throwing in Hunter, like Kev said, is a swing tackle. So Turner, sorry, not Hunter, Turner was a swing tackle. So yeah, just go. You know what I mean? I'm tired of kind of Hugh and his water carrying nonsense and everything. You know what I mean? But I'll say this much: if Hugh says something, there's something in the water. So, and that's because he's carrying water for a style in the front office. So
The gaslighting about Mackay Beck thing, I just want to go back to this because it's honestly as close to as gaslighting as you can get. It's so crazy because the way people talked about Mackay Becton, like throughout his previous years, they acted like the man was like auditioning for like my 600-pound life. And I keep saying this because it's like every time they were like, oh my God, how's this dude so fat? And you look at him and it's like, where? He's a big guy who's playing left tackle. And they acting they acted like he was just eating himself to death. And that was gross. And it was insinuated by the team, but like media and some fans brought it. It was just all gross stuff. So hopefully Mackay Becton comes back, does well, plays like a stud. We give him a second contract, and we can actually start giving first round picks his second contract.
Wait, a second contract from who?
The Jets.
go back to with the Jets.
Bruh, it's more likely that I'm playing for the Jets next year than Mackay Becton. Let's just keep it. Let me just reading between the lines. He ain't coming back. He ain't gonna be here next year. Word to Magic Johnson. He ain't gonna be here next year. Just hope that he played well this year, and you get what you get out of him. Maybe if he's so good, they franchise him and trade him, but they're done with him. Like they're done with him. He's done with them. It's an arranged marriage. They want to get a year out of each other, and that's it. Like, hey, a lot of things can change in a year. I even learned to like Jude in a year. A lot of things could change.
Why do you always do this, Kev? I'm just sitting here minding my own business, relaxing, and you do this. You come here, you do your ISO movement. Case just sits there like fucking, I don't know, some bench warmer, and I'm just getting ISO.
Giving people an example. Like, I learned to like you in a year. Things could change in a year. Maybe things go so well this year that Mackay changes his mind about the team changes his mind about him, and they live happily ever after. I would not bet on it, though. So we'll see. But I just hope he plays well this year. That's what I want out of him. Next year, they can worry about next year when next year gets here.
Right. And it's one thing, definitely want them to play well because it's only in our benefit. Some people asked about the cornerbacks or something they asked me about. Again, you're not going to see much until they put on pads. They didn't run much. I'll say that much. They didn't run much. I didn't see a lot of Michael Carter on Saturday. As far as the Zach Wilson stuff, Zach in the Reds, they had a one red zone drive where he had one design run.
Why are we talking about
Because people ask. People ask.
Brother, I swear to you, I barely wanted to write the Jets into today's program. I had no choice because obviously the weekend was what it was. I had no choice. If we start talking about Zach Wilson, I will not write the Jets into another fucking podcast episode.
No. We're not getting in depth. I'm just saying that
any depth is too much depth.
What I saw,
any depth.
I'm gonna change the topic a little bit with Aaron Rodgers. I will say Aaron Rodgers is probably one of the more involved. I mean, I've only been to 2 training camps, but Aaron Rodgers was. You know how they talk about Joe Flacco, Josh McCown, all these guys being mentors, and that's probably because they're old white and they look the part. Aaron Rodgers is actually like a mentor. Like I got some shots. They're going to be up on the Patreon. They're also up on my personal site. But I got some shots way back in the background of like Aaron Rodgers, like after the drill with the different quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers showing them like how to drill, how to hitch, all of that stuff, giving different examples. It's really cool to see. You see him talking to everyone. You see him on the line. It's like you see the 318. You see him drawing people off sides. It's just amazing.
See, this is the shit that I want to hear. This right here. This is amazing. What the fuck I want to hear, especially from somebody who has been a self-proclaimed Aaron Rodgers hater for as long as this program has existed, as long as I fucking known him, because he's a diva and all this other shit, as if Aaron Rodgers is the only person who's like top 3 at his job ever, basically, who's a diva. But whatever. This is the shit that I want to hear. Not no fucking Zach Wilson threw a ball to the flats in a fucking red zone.
I was going to get down to the fact that what people were asking me. And I was basically saying, like, there's certain things I can't really address, you know what I mean? Because there was nothing really going on. I was saying, as far as Zach Wilson thing, I saw in the red zone, this is a couple of handoff and then a check down from a handoff to check down from a pass to a handoff and then a pass and a slide.
So
and that was pretty much it.
Much like his entire NFL career, correct?
Go ahead. Exactly.
All right. So
Aaron
we really needed to report that.
But hold on, because I'm leading up to the highlight.
Okay.
A couple of things. Aaron Rodgers.
Mhm.
This is my first time seeing Aaron Rodgers throw a ball in person. Let me explain something to the people who say that Aaron Rodgers threw a short pass, underthrown ball. You guys are on drugs. Simple, plain and simple. You guys are on drugs. I'm going to explain why. And maybe Kev saw it too, maybe because he watched Aaron
Are we
Rodgers.
talking about the one to Garrett? That saw
The one to Garrett was. You're right.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Now, did you see the trajectory of the ball? Did you see it wobble and then spin to a spiral?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's what I kept keying all the way through that ball. He threw it and it wobbled and turned to a spiral. Now, normally we throw a ball and it wobbles. It just wobbles all the way through the pass, right? I think what happened on that play, he was trying to put, like he puts some, what would you say, some English on it. He put some English on it, and it's supposed to drop a certain way because of the type of spin he puts on the ball. I think that he just put the spin a little, with the spin and the arc of the pass, it dropped down shorter than he expected. Because if you see them day two, he was throwing fucking darts.
Yes,
He was just throwing darts. But from Saturday, the McCall Hardman red zone catch to end practice. Beautiful ball. Hardman caught it, toe tap like Sammy Davis, whatever you want to call it. Shaboing boing. He just in the end zone. Beautiful. Sauce is a stud. Sauce is a stud. Fuck what anybody says. His closing speed, his length. It's just hard to go against him. The defense lost the practice Saturday because Aaron Rodgers was just phenomenal in the red zone. He had 2 red zone touchdowns. Corey Davis. I'll say this, guys. If Corey Davis can play 16 games, the Jets offense is going to be scary good. I'll just say
now
that.
we're back on the Corey Davis bandwagon?
No, because I'm just saying from practice. Because what I'm noticing, he has a rapport with Garrett already. You got McCall who wants to play and be that slot dude, but just remember, Corey Davis was second in yards per catch last year in the limited amount of times he played. I think like 15.7. He can catch a deep ball, but if he gets him in the red zone busy and catching deep passes, I'm telling you guys right now, and outside of the running game not being what it was, didn't see much from the rookie, didn't see much from Carter. If Aaron Rodgers can get the ball to Corey Davis, and Corey Davis is healthy, the Jets offense is going to be scary as fuck. It's going to be scary. One more thing I'll touch on was the Jermaine Johnson scuffles. He had 2 scuffles. One with Kenny Yeboah, who's pretty much just with a practice squad, and I think the other one was with Laken Tomlinson. Jermaine Johnson has lost weight. He's very strong now, and he's getting to these intense, things in camp. I think he has something to prove. He has improved a lot because they traded up for him. He's playing with a chip on his shoulder this year. I'll say that much. That's what I'll say. If you think Jermaine Johnson's not going to come out there and try to ball out and be super aggressive and super intense, he's playing determined. He's going to have a breakout year because I think he really, really wants to prove that he's that guy. And he didn't make a mistake drafting him, and he got himself in a great physical shape. He even spoke after practice. But yeah, Jermaine Johnson, just don't look at those scuffles as anything more than intensity. Shout out to Brees Hall, took the picture for me. Shout out to Sauce Garner. I didn't ask for the autograph, took a picture, talking about being on the Switch channel. The kids were shouting Corey Davis' name like they were his legitimate children. They were like,
Oh, I have a story about that. That's kind of embarrassing because it came from a brother. That this brother, a black man, was shouting for Corey. He was shouting for his daughter to get Corey Davis's autograph, like he was a groupie, and it was one of the most embarrassing things I've ever seen in my life because he was like, "Get Corey Davis' autograph! Get up there, get Corey Davis' autograph! Corey Davis, come over here!" And I'm like, "My God, fucking relax!" And it was just like that shit embarrassed me to the core. That shit was embarrassing. But yeah, like some of the adults were acting a bit too extra about autographs. I never understood it because it's like he's autographing your worn jersey. What are you gonna do? You can what it didn't make a lot of sense. I do want
The
to
kids are not better. The kids are
I
not
do want
better.
to touch I do want to touch on Aaron Rodgers right quick and just say that that vintage feeling of just like hearing that 318, it's gonna really like that first regular season game when you hear that when it's dead quiet in the stadium and you hear that 318 and you hear him jump off sides, that might be vintage magic. That might be like cocaine. Like you just sniff that cocaine. I'm just like, wow. And one last comment I want to make. Packers beat writers, there are many of them. They know who they are. They know what they are. They need to let him go. They need to stop the X analogies. They need to stop all that. They need to stop reading into it. Let him go. He's found another woman. You should find another person and let him go. Please.
They need I'm gonna put it a little bit more bluntly than you. They need to find a new dick to ride.
Yes.
I'll put it a little bit more bluntly than you.
How about the quarterback they're rostering? How about that?
Jordan Love, the Hall of Fame quarterback.
They need to find another thing. Like
he's Hall of
and don't get
Fame.
me wrong, I see that Jets fans do the same thing, and they've been talking about the Packers a lot too. But like since training camp has started, basically it's just we're just excited about our team, and Packer fans are just in the cut. And I'm not even looking for this stuff, and I'm seeing it still. And it's just Packer fans just talking about it. It's like, he didn't want you no more, dog. Find a new dick. Like, he didn't want you. Move on. Find a new dick. Like, seriously, between Packer fans and Seahawks fans, it's like, bro, like, come up for air. Please. Like, Rodgers, I don't know what Rodgers' situation is, but Rodgers, I think he's spoken for. Sauce is, like, yo, get off Sauce's meat. Like, yo, Tariq Woolen is better. Like, y'all only think Sauce is better because he plays in New York. It's like, why can't they both just be really good?
Mm-hmm.
They're both really good. They're both very good young corners. Now, pretty much 98% of relevant statistics, Sauce is better in. So I'm not sure what the comparison here is. Oh, Tariq Woolen caught 6 interceptions compared to Sauce's 2. It's like, all right, the interceptions are nice. Now, I don't know. I didn't watch Tariq Woolen's highlight reel because I don't give a fuck about Tariq Woolen, if I'm going to be honest. But, like, I saw one of them. One of them, Leonard Fournette threw him the ball while he was, quote-unquote, covering Tom Brady. So, like, what the fuck are we talking about? Like, enough. Yeah. Get off the dick, bro. Like, Seahawks fans. Like, I remember how it was when they were talking this talk about Jamal Adams. Like, oh, we're so glad we have Jamal Adams. Like, oh, fuck them draft picks. How's that working out for you? How's that working out? And then now it's Sauce this and Sauce that. It's like, bro, he plays on a team on the opposite coast in a different conference. Get off his dick. Seriously.
The same goes for Packers fans too. It's like,
enough.
If anything, you should be hoping Aaron Rodgers does well so you can get a better pick. I mean, that's the crazy.
No. Well, no, that's not his work. They should be hoping Aaron Rodgers does poorly because then the pick will be better.
Yeah, but it'll be a second round pick. It's a
whole he just has to play 65% of the snaps. He's gonna play that unless he's dead. He's gonna play that. So they need the Jets to win. Well, not need, but they want the Jets to never win a game. That's the thing. So like them rooting against him, yeah, they feel free. But just talking about him every 8 seconds is weird to me. But okay, like he wanted somebody else. He don't want you no more. Hence why Patriots fans do this outside all the time.
Did Patriots fans do this for Brady? I feel like they didn't. Or did they do this for Brady? Like when Brady left for Tampa Bay? Because Brady was having fun.
Brady left under way different circumstances.
That's true.
Like Aaron Rodgers wanted to leave, and then the Rodgers Green Bay delay / staring contest was both of them not wanting to be the bad guy here because you know it's a franchise icon leaving this, that, and the third. Like Brady the Patriots didn't want him no more, and then Brady just was like, all right, fine, you don't want me no more, I'll leave. So that's what it was. And then he went to Tampa Bay, who actually had some, professional wide receivers since Bill refused to get him any. And then the rest of this is history. So.
Oh my goodness! Yes, that is true. Very much.
Yeah, Brady. Everybody looked at Brady like he was like a hostage. You know what I mean, behind enemy lines. So when he left for Tampa, it was more like, oh, well, free that man.
Like, and I'm not saying this to be combative, but I'm not saying this to make fun of Jude because Jude is only part of this, not the whole thing. But it's really amazing how we, as a society, suck the Patriots dry at every chance, like in the Bill Belichick era. But then when everybody leaves, then all of a sudden we sided with the players. It's very weird. We don't do this with anybody else. Anybody else. All of a sudden we side with the players because now we care about showing personality and it's not fun being in the. Since when do y'all care about fun?
Yeah, it's true.
Right. And like I said, when it came to Aaron Rodgers, like he was wearing less, going out more, and fans were upset because they're like, "Oh, he's hanging out with Sauce Gardner. Oh, he gets a chain. He gets a chain now. Well, this person bought him a golf cart. Come on, bro. Like, listen, you just can't be that guy in a breakup. In a breakup, you just have to be mature and just walk away. Look the other way. But certain people just can't.
Y'all look like
way.
losers, bro.
They
Y'all look like losers.
They
Aaron
look
Rodgers
like
got a nice chain. So like Sauce Gardner is taking well to Aaron Rodgers. Like they like each other. He's his new teammate. Like,
and the funny thing is, if Aaron Rodgers came in and acted like a dick, they'd be like, "Oh, see, look at Aaron Rodgers. He's a dick. I know he was a dick."
Like Aaron Rodgers is actively trying to make it work in a new relationship, and they cannot shut up about it. It's like, all right, we get it.
Shut up about it. There's another thing that people can't shut up about. Well. A certain amount of people about how they're being treated. And I, for one, agree with the running backs. How they're being treated is very, very bad. It's not cool. And I'll just dive into the reasons why. But it's gotten so bad, right? It's gotten so bad that Austin Eckler had to organize a call with the running backs, certain running backs in the league, to discuss the state of the contract market. So I'll drop the names that was allegedly in this call. Names like Saquon Barkley, who didn't sign his tender and is not going to camp. Josh Jacobs, who has been reported to be seen leaving Las Vegas. I think it's the name of the movie, Leaving Las Vegas. Tony Pollard as well, as a few other names. There's a lot of names that were put in this call. I think Ezekiel Elliott was there as well. People making fun of him for being there. But I think, and also I think they said the NFL Player Association person was there as well. Running backs have been devalued in the NFL. It's a passing league. It's not the same. It's not the 90s. But if we're being real, running backs weren't ever getting paid crazy money anyway, in comparison to their counterparts who touch the ball just as much or more, I should say. There's three people that touch the ball like more than 90% of the time. The center, because it touches the ball 100% of the time. The quarterback, who touches the ball 100% of the time. And the running back, who probably touches the ball like closer to 90% of the time, whether they're getting a handoff or they're catching a pass. As a position evolved to more pass catching guys like, Reggie Bush, all-purpose guys. Because remember, all-purpose guys are like Marshall Faulk was the king of all-purpose back in the day. Like back in his day, he was the guy catching the ball at the backfield. There wasn't a lot of people like that, but then you get the Kareem Hunts, the Reggie Bushes, the Austin Ecklers, who else? Kev? There's a couple of guys. Kareem Hunt. It's not a dude. McCaffrey, CMC.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of guys who catch the ball at the backfield as well as rushing the ball, which translates to about, on average, a good running back could see over 200 touches for the year, and about 1,500 plus yards from scrimmage. And I would say total touchdowns, like I'm just saying on average, if you're really good, I would say between let's say between 10 and 15, right? It could be an outlier like Eckler, who had 20 touchdowns back in 2021. He had 18 last year, but neither here nor there. Is there an argument to be made for running backs to be compensated more? Absolutely. Is there an argument to be made that running backs are a risk? I'm not going to say they shouldn't be compensated, are a risk to being overly compensated. Yes. But the problem is, what is the healthy medium? Like, what are the solutions to help running backs get their bread? Kev is an advocate for running backs getting paid, but he also understands that in this game is a passing league. And everybody's going to be, that dude. I am 100% for running backs getting paid just because of the numbers. Like, you just look at the numbers. Like, if you look at regular season MVPs, quarterbacks, of course, dominate. Wide receivers, I think, are third. Running backs are second in regular season MVP. I think running backs at 16.
No.
No,
I
wide
don't think
receivers.
a
are
wide
second.
receiver has never won MVP.
So again, so quarterbacks are first, running backs are second. Period.
Yes.
You put whatever in between,
Yeah,
but
pass
period.
catchers have never won one. Yep.
Right. When it comes to Super Bowl MVPs, I think running backs are third with 6, and I think wide receivers are like second with like 7 or 8. So normally, when it comes to that argument, running backs have value. The last running back MVP, I believe, was Adrian Peterson, not Derrick Henry.
Yes,
It was Adrian Peterson. Yeah. And
Yes,
again, there's no regular season wide receiver MVP. So I think running backs have an argument to their value. How do they get paid is a whole other thing. Kev, I don't know if you have any solutions, but I know you have an antithesis. So go ahead.
I don't know what the solutions here, because put it like this. I understand that throughout whatever over like the last decade, like the average salary of like the top of the top at every position has gone up except running back. That is kind of absurd. No, not kind of. It is absurd. Like everybody who's ever listened to this podcast knows where I stand on this topic. So like I'm not gonna get too far into it. You know where I am, right? But like you can't tell me that like the average of the top kickers has gone up, but running backs has gone down. Like running back is not the only position that's changed over the last 10 years. I'm talking about whether you want to talk about an increase of value or a decrease in value. Now, the thing with the paying the running backs is the shittiest part about it for running backs is most of their best work comes unpaid in college. Like to me, that's the worst part about it. And obviously, like with every carry you lose value. That's shitty because like the teams are going to take advantage of this. But they're just like, all right, listen, if we even have to draft the running back in the first round, which I think in a lot of cases is bad practice, like, okay, we draft them in round 1, we get the extra year, and then we get the extra year as opposed to when you draft them in round 2 or round 3 or whatever, we get the extra year, we run him to death for 4 years, and then, if he happens to be alive after 4 years, we franchise him. If not, fuck it, we move on. Like, yeah, it's a dirty business. Like, there's no way to argue this. It's a dirty business. Now, part of it is just the sport. Like, they have shifted, and every single fucking rule benefits the passing game. That's just what it is. So, like, we can make this about Derrick Henry or whatever other top back that you want to bring, but every single one of them, outside of maybe Christian McCaffrey, is extremely replaceable because the rules of the sport dictate as such. The only way because again, and granted, like social media wasn't around and we weren't just having these conversations with strangers every day, but motherfuckers wasn't talking about Curtis Martin's value in 1998. We weren't talking about Terrell Davis's value in 1998, even though Terrell Davis was undrafted, but that's neither here nor there. We weren't talking about how were these guys important or not important. We weren't talking about that. You know why? Because you could knock a nigga's head off going over the middle. That's why. In 1999, you could knock a nigga's head off going over the middle. You could molest receivers up and down the field. As a matter of fact, Case, you might remember the game, the 04 AFC title game, or the division, the Patriots and Colts, where the Patriots beat the Colts down. And when I tell you, I have never seen DBs hold more in my life than that game. Never. In my life, I have never seen one team's DBs hold more than I saw the Patriots hold in that particular game. It was brilliant because they weren't calling them. Once the first drive went by and there were no holding calls, it was the Patriots like, oh, we got them right where we want them. We're just going to do it the whole game. I dare you to call it. And they never did. It was fucking brilliant. But you could do that back then. You can't do that shit now. You can't hit people. You can't knock niggas' heads off over the middle. So Justin Jefferson can do his fancy little two-step and have no fear of getting his shit rocked over the middle. That's why you can fucking throw the ball 65% of the time and nobody cares. Because it's the most efficient way to move the ball. And there's nothing really stopping you. Yeah, there's great defense, it's fine. But it's hard as hell to stop teams. That's why we look at great defenses now, we view it differently. It's not just, they only give up 14 points a game. How many game breakers do you have?
They get turnovers.
How many turnovers can you force? Like, can you cause strip sacks? Can you take the fucking ball away? Because it's hard as hell to just stop people straight up. Because all the rules benefit the offense, and namely the passers. Because the NFL has gone full on in marketing the quarterback and nobody else. Hence why the quarterbacks get paid. And we're talking about Daniel fucking Jones making $45 million, $40 million, whatever it was. Like,
Kev,
if I'm Saquon Barkley and I see that shit, I'm livid.
Kev, I wanted to be right quick to say this. Like, I think it was, what year was this? 2017 or 2018? It was one of those years in which I swear it felt like every starting quarterback got hurt at one. You know what I'm talking about, right? Every starting quarterback got hurt.
I don't remember the year, but I remember what you're
one point or the other. And I think that was when the NFL really was like, no more. We're changing the rules. All these rules are changing, like the passing. Like, they had that OPI rule for 1 year that you can review PI, offense and defense, and they just stopped that rule after that because it's like, if they saw how many times offenses committed OPI, it will stop the offenses. It'll hinder the game. So it's like ever since that year, that's when you just start seeing the emphasis on quarterback much more than ever, and that's why these running backs are just not going to get paid like they should.
Right.
But I think the problem though is the game has evolved and running backs have evolved with it. That's the problem. It's only running backs that like.
I don't think that's true though.
Okay.
Let's look at it like this. You know what? Wait. Before you go on, let me cut you off really quick. I'm gonna put on the tinfoil hat. This is going to be a special occasion in this podcast history. I'm going to put on the tinfoil hat that Case usually has on. Now, Saquon Barkley, if he was to play if they were to train him to play wide receiver full time, do we think he could do it credibly?
I would say
wide receiver. He give me a slot. Give me a slot, guy.
So the answer is yes. I don't think he'd be great. I mean, you know what? Somebody that athletic, I'm not going to put it past him. But I think he could, at bare minimum, be a functional wide receiver if you forced him to be, right. And we've seen it on the field because I watched him burn. I watched him burn Marcus. What's his name? Marshawn Lattimore, rather, to crisp in New Orleans multiple times. I saw it in my own eyes. Saw it. So, like, here's the thing: if the Giants or any team with a guy like Saquon, there's not that many of them, to be fair. Use Saquon in the kind of matter where they could use him, then the argument to suppress his salary becomes hard to make, doesn't it? Because look at the Giants' wide receiver depth chart last year. It was this podcast, basically. It was this podcast and Wan'Dale Robinson. That was their wide receiver depth chart last year, and yet they still didn't utilize Saquon at wide receiver. More, like they could have used him more. They threw him the ball a bunch, but it was flare patterns and 5-yard passes. Like, they didn't use him in a way that they could. Their offense was fine. I'm not trying to tell Brian Daboll how to run his offense, but teams do this type of stuff to their players all the time. Like, this is not new. And Saquon Barkley is up for a contract. You're telling me they couldn't have used him out wide more? Like, that's where you're gonna sit here. You're gonna tell me this when Isaiah Hodgins and fucking Darius Slayton and whatever's left of Sterling Shepard, your wide receivers. So it's like, but if you then you run him out wide, you let him go crazy. He catches 80 balls for 900 yards. And then the same, we land at the same spot with Saquon holding out this down to third. Your case against him becomes a lot fucking harder to make, doesn't it? Because look, Christian McCaffrey, now granted, Christian McCaffrey's head and shoulders above everybody else receiving wise at running back. So I'm not trying to act like McCaffrey and Barkley are in the same tier. They're not. But there's a reason that Christian McCaffrey makes as much money as he makes, and nobody questions it. And I know what you're thinking. He's white. That's not where I'm going with this. No. That's not where I'm going with this.
Hey,
he's a wide receiver who happens to play running back really well. Go ahead, Case. What's up?
So I said I may go with that angle, but let's finish.
Sure, but he's a wide receiver who happens to play running back really well. Like, I think that's mainly why we look at that and we're just like, okay, we understand why they paid him that. And even still, like, occasionally, like, the nerds, like the super nerds, like, I'm a nerd too, the super nerds, like the people who are way too invested in counting people's pockets, because I'm not, those type of nerds would be like, oh, why would they pay him that? You could pay Elijah Mitchell and the usual shit that they say. But yeah, man, like, do I think that there's some shady business going on with just the select few? Because I'm not talking about like Josh Jacobs, because those guys can't do that kind of stuff. But like, you're going to tell me that they couldn't have lined up Saquon more at wide receiver last year? Like, that's what you're going to tell me?
They could have. They could have. I'll say that much. But this is my rebuttal to that, as far as like the evolution of the running back. Um, I don't want to go too far back, but let's just start from, let's give it a fair 20-year run, or yeah, close to 20 years. From 1993 to last year, how many 21-year-olds led the league in rushing? If you were to guess, how many 21-year-olds led the league in rushing?
Two.
5
Exactly.
tops.
Two.
Two?
Two.
Okay.
Yes. One was Edgerrin James in 99. The other one was Ezekiel Elliott in 2016.
Right. It was the one that came to mind. Yep.
From 93 till last year, majority of the running backs who led the league in rushing has been in their mid to late 20s. Right? The oldest being Adrian Peterson at 30. Curtis Martin, 2004. Got about the phenomenal season. At 31, and then Adrian Peterson at 30 in 2015. But majority of the guys who lead the league in rushing are pretty much on contract number 2. Right? These are not first contract guys. These are contracts like Barry Sanders twice, Emmitt Smith twice. This is over 23. Actually, Barry Sanders 3 times. Terrell Davis, Edgerrin James went back to back at 21-22, so he's like the only exception. Priest Holmes at 27, Sean Alexander at 28, DeMarco Murray at 26 led the league in rushing. You know what I mean? So if we're just looking at age, a lot of these guys are hitting their prime. And we're talking about leading the league, statistically running the ball in the second half when they're supposed to be getting bread. Like that's the time we're getting paid. So we're not talking about a decline, or it's like, oh, the only guys that lead the league in rushing are in their early 20s. So let's scratch out that longevity portion. That is a false narrative that they're running with about the age thing. Now, does it fall off at around 30, 31? Absolutely. But do I need the leading rusher at 30, 31? No, I've already done 8 to 10 years of work already. I should be at least being compensated for my, the second half of my career, where it's more likely for me to lead the league in rushing than that. Mm-hmm. The second portion I'm going to go to is the evolution. Now than it was. Yes.
Oh, no, you cut out for a bit. So I was trying to figure out.
Oh. You hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. So what I was saying is the guys, there are less bell cow backs now than there were then. And the bell cow backs then didn't do as much as the running backs do now. So you can't tell me the game hasn't evolved to where guys are not getting the ball more, because guess what? If we talk about all-purpose yards and we talk about the amount of touches, we're talking about running backs leading that list. You could look it up. The amount of touches, the amount of yards from scrimmage, the amount of I forgot what the other stat I showed the other day to the amount of first downs. The amount of first downs accumulated. It's mostly running backs. So they are doing a lion's share of the work, but they're not being compensated as much as my receivers, who I'm not saying don't do the work, but they don't do as much as the running backs do. We're not even talking about elite running backs. We're not talking about elite running backs.
I will say, Case, there's one thing I was thinking about during this conversation about offenses. How many times when you watch a game these days now, you're seeing, instead of just running the ball, because I remember way back when I first started watching football, it would be like run straight up the middle. Not even like any crazy motion. None of that. It's literally just straight up the middle, maybe inside, outside zone. Nowadays, the running game is pretty much screens, like very short screens, very short slants. Like they've essentially eliminated the idea of bell cow backs, not by doing this running back by committee, by just stopping to run the ball altogether, by just doing these very short passes. Yeah.
It's both. Like they have committees partially because some of the runs you see are not exactly just straightforward runs. It's jet sweeps and screens and all of that. Like they do that, and then you have a situation where like you don't have a lot of Derrick Henrys. Where Derrick Henry is going to get his 300 touches by hook or by crook. He's going to get his 300 touches. Maybe you put Saquon in that category. McCaffrey, if he's healthy, they're kind of using him differently, but whatever. Put him in that category, and then everybody else is kind of in a committee.
Right.
That's how it is. So if everybody's in a committee and teams are treating it as such, like you kind of look at what the Seahawks did, where They drafted a running back in round 2. And I mean, granted, I think drafting running backs in round 2 back-to-back years is stupid, but they did it, right? And they have their backfield locked up for the next 4 years. And if one of them ages well and just seems to be really good at when it comes time to extend, you franchise them, you give them a reasonable extension or whatever. But that's kind of where we're headed with this. Like, I don't know. I like, are the running backs done dirty? One can make that argument easily. I feel like being concerned with the running backs at the top of things as opposed to the running backs in the middle class and the lower tier, I feel like that's kind of missing the point. Like, if Saquon Barkley feels he could turn down $10 million, why am I supposed to care? genuinely asking this, like, why am I supposed to care? Isaiah Pacheco runs like a crash test dummy. Like, I'm not making this up. Go watch his film. He runs like he does not care if he lives. Like, no exaggeration. That's how he runs. He making like $500K. Like, I think we should be talking about them dudes more than Saquon Barkley. Because, Barkley, should he get paid more than $10 million? That whatever. Maybe he should be getting paid 15. I don't fucking know. But he's going to be fine. Isaiah Pacheco, I can't say that for. These guys who are getting paid around, who are getting drafted around 4 and, may not get a decent second contract, like, I'm more concerned about them. And I don't feel like the conversation is about them enough. Personally.
And they're not the ones that are going to get franchise tagged either. They're just
exactly
like, you can go.
For the most part. Like, unless you're like Kamara and you're just that guy, like, you're not going to get franchised if you're a round 4 pick. That's just not how this works. Or a round 5 or lower pick. So, like, I'm more concerned about them than the Josh Jacobses of the world, personally.
Now, I do have a quick question with the franchise tag and running backs. Like, I've been thinking about this as well. Are running backs the most franchise tagged, like, position group in the league right now? Because I feel like every time I hear about this franchise tag, it's about a running back. It's rarely about a quarterback, and I don't think I've seen a wide receiver franchise tagged in God knows.
That's a really good question. I don't know if it's the most. I'd have to actually look that up. I probably should have done that before this podcast, to be fair here. But I don't know if they're the most. I bet that they are. I will say it feels like they're the most because that's the only position we hear about. Like, we nobody cares if you franchise your left tackle. Like, nobody cares if you franchise your wide receiver. That's just, no, we don't care. Like, once you franchise a running back, it becomes a philosophical debate, and everybody starts screaming over each other for days, like we saw when Saquon, when the whole Saquon thing went down and the deadline passed, and everybody was screaming past each other for 3 days. So it feels like it's the most.
I'm looking it up right now. This year, 2023, we already see 3 running backs get franchise tag. 2022, nothing. 2021, wow. It's pretty much 2023. This is the first year that's really, 2020, you saw Derrick Henry of all people get franchise tagged. But yeah, 2023, this is the first year where we've seen 3 running backs get franchise tagged all in a row. And you know how we talk about the collusion stuff sometimes with the whole Lamar Jackson thing? Now I'm seeing this kind of trend. I'm going to put my case conspiracy hat on a little bit. And I'm wondering now, it's like, it's interesting. This is the year all three of them get franchise tagged.
Everybody cooking up conspiracies except Case, man. Meanwhile, Case is Woody Johnson's biggest fan. This is opposite day of this podcast.
Listen, I'm not for conspiracy theories today. I will say this, to Kev's point about the white running back thing. Yes, Christian McCaffrey is the only one who kind of got handsomely paid. Not saying he didn't deserve it. He had 2,392 all-purpose yards back in 2019 on 403 touches. Hey, he deserved it. It's just for me. It's just for me watching what's going on. And to Jude's point about the franchise tag thing. The franchise tag thing happens like this. What's the most valuable position all of a sudden this year? Like, why is the position all of a sudden this is the position that's valued? Like, what's going on this year? And it may be years with mostly offensive linemen, you know what I mean, or wide receivers or whatever, because that's the year where somebody who was maybe second round pick or first round pick, maybe a plethora of guys back to back have reached these benchmarks, and it's like, oh, we got to pay these dudes now. And the franchise tag is the way to say, all right, well, this is what the best running back is getting paid. We can pay them this much, but they're like, hey, I'm better than him because he got this contract 2-3 years ago. You know what I mean? So that's what we're seeing now, because Christian McCaffrey got his contract, and people want to get paid like him. because they feel like they're doing just as much. It may not be what he was in Carolina in 2019, but hey, they might be what he was in San Francisco this season. You know what I mean? Because he wasn't the best running back last year. Josh Jacobs, hands down, was the best running back. The other guys who played just as well, especially McCaffrey. But the bad thing about this, though, and I forgot who said it, there's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can do. The players' union, the agreement's until, I believe, 2030. So they're stuck. So these guys will be out of the league by then. What's the name from ESPN? I forgot his name. He had touched on some inside shit. He's always on. Him and Bomani Jones always do a show together. Dominique Foxworth, yes. Yep. He did speak on the NFL having a surplus of money that they accumulate.
That was a very eye-opening point.
Yeah, that was an excellent point. My solution was kind of like wacky, but my solution for it is simply this: running backs should be allowed to start at the age of 20 in the league. They should start earlier. Because if you're going, because like Kevin said, you're wasting most of your prime. Like Reggie Bush was destroying the league when he was at USC.
Reggie Bush had no business in college.
No business in college football.
Adrian Peterson's college years was such a waste of fucking time, dude.
Right.
Drew, when we're done here, go Google Adrian Peterson's Oklahoma highlights. It was such a waste of time. Like
it's such a waste of time
being there, dog. No,
such a waste.
Like, have you ever seen one of them sitcoms where like a 10th grader will show up in a 4th grader's class, and they're just a genius because obviously they've been there and they're way older than these kids? That's how Adrian Peterson looked running against these.
But my solution is a year early admittance. They could start at 20, which means you can leave after your sophomore season. It depends on what year you get into college, because some people get into college at 17, turn 18, might not be done until 19, whatever. But there should be a sophomore exception where if you're like 19, 20, or 20 at all, just going to that season, because now you have more years of service in the NFL at running back automatically. So that's it. So at 20 years old, hey, I'm already here. I finished my rookie contract. Also, rookie running back contract should be 3 years, not 4. And this is just, again, spitballing. And the reason why I say that is because let's say you outplay your contract within your first 3 years. That option for the 4th year should not be a team option. It should be a player option. That's what NBA does for options. It should be a player option for the 4th year, depending if they don't do good or not, you know what I mean, how well they do. So if they're like, hey, you know what, I did okay, I may not be in top of that big money, let me pick it up. I think that should only be for first round running backs. Now, the reason why I say that is because with the increase of the offense and stuff in the league with passing, if you're drafting in the first round, then if you're drafting in the first round, hey, like you might be stuck with this guy for 4 years if you don't use him. So use him and use him and not pay him or whatever. You know what I mean? And then down the line, second round pick, of course, you have 4 years with a 50-year option, third round, whatever. You know what I mean? If you're going that low, whatever. But I think running backs coming early. And also to Foxworthy's the money pool thing, yes, there should be guys who are compensated for playing outside the contract as a bonus. This is not a long-term solution. I don't know how you fix a running back solution long-term other than just saying you have to have thresholds. Somebody said, why would you pay? What makes you pay a running back, whatever, second contract? And they said consecutive 1,500-yard rushing seasons, which is
good luck with that.
You're right, because it doesn't fucking happen.
Nobody's getting enough touches to do that.
They're literally on the list. The list is Barry Sanders, who got to 1,500 and ended up going backwards because against the Ravens, it was the last game of the season before he retired. And I think this is probably the reason why he retired. He was going to, they gave him the record over Earl Campbell, but it was rushing over 1,500 yards 5 consecutive seasons. That was Earl Campbell's record, which was 4 consecutive seasons of rushing over 1,500 yards, and then everybody else on the list. So if you tell me, somebody getting a second contract for something that hasn't been done since 1999 in a passing league, you're not being realistic. You don't give a fuck about running backs get paid. So I don't understand why that was even said. But running backs if you're going to be a pass catching running back and you have 2,000, 2,000, 1,500, 1,800 scrimmage yards, whatever. Just pay them. Just pay them. You know what I mean? Or like Kev said, if I'm a running back now coming to the league, if I'm in college right now, I'm learning how to play slot wide receiver. I don't want to play running back. I want to play slot.
Yeah, but the problem with that is, like as I alluded to with the whole their best work comes in college, you can't be telling college coaches what you're going to do.
True.
Like they're going to use you how they want to fucking use you, and that's the part that's kind of shit. You kind of restricted in that way. Like obviously, like if you're like the Reggie Bushers, if you're the one of ones, then yeah, they're going to use you all over the place. But if you're not the one of one, but if you're just like you're really good, but you're mortal good instead of like God good. Like they're not going to use you all over the place. They're just going to run you into the ground because again, this is free labor, and then they're going to say it's NFL. That's how this works. I mean, look at Alabama. Alabama runs their running back to the ground before they send them to the league. To the ground. 350 carries a year in college before they send them to the fucking league.
My question though, Cam, is given so many different guys who've led the league in rushing, it's like rushing the ball. Like it's not something that you could be like a top 5 running back for 5 years. He's not going to be the number 1 running back every year, regardless of what year it is. Like even when Emmitt Smith was the best running back, he wasn't the best running back. Like Barry Sanders was clearly a better running back because he had the worst offensive line and the stuff that he was doing was phenomenal.
Nobody's the best at any position on a year-to-year basis unless your name is like Aaron Donald, where like okay, he just got it.
Right. It's so hard to be the best at any position, man. Unless it's like right, unless you're Jerry Rice, you know what I mean? It's guys like that. Yeah. But it's just one of those things that the NFL has to figure out. But the NFL Players Association, these guys who are coming together, this running backs meeting, they have to figure out something for the long term. They're not going to benefit from this. Like these guys, you know, by the time if they get their comeuppance, everybody's going to be in their 30s. So no one currently right now is going to benefit from, you know, whatever discussion they have. I've seen Le'Veon Bell talking about he was a blueprint, sitting out for a year. Whatever. No,
why are we, man? Cut the podcast off. We're calling Le'Veon Bell. Cut the podcast.
But he did. He said he made it seem like he was a martyr for sitting out and not playing, and just being dumb enough to pay him that money. Like,
can we make it a rule on this podcast? Like, let's not quote Le'Veon. I don't care what he said. It could be the smartest shit in the history of the world. Stop quoting Le'Veon Bell. That should be a rule. Stop quoting that man. Stop it. He not a Jet no more. You don't have to do this. Stop quoting that man.
I've been saying I found it funny that he made himself like this martyr for sitting out for.
Le'Veon has been good at that for a long time. Like let's not quote that man, please. Thank you.
Yeah,
the conversation with running backs is simple. This is an oversimplification, yes, but it's like, bro, the change that could get running back contracts back up is never going to happen. And what's that change? Changing the rules back, and they're never going to do that shit. So, but
do you have to change the rules back when like you don't have to change the rules? I don't think you do.
Like they're replaceable. Yes, you have to change the rules back.
Well, I mean, running back is the most interchangeable position until it's not. Until it's not,
and it's always going to be interchangeable as long as the rules say, hey, we can just throw the ball all over the fucking yard and have fun and enjoy ourselves. And running backs are just, they're cogs in the machine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't disagree. I think there's some consistency in running back and leading rushers. Like you may not be consecutive years winning running titles, but I do feel like the guys who are premier are up there for rushing yards, and I feel like the guys who are premier and catching up there as well. So I don't want to look at it one way. I think the league could compensate guys. There's always a way. And there's smarter people who get paid more to figure these things out. And I'm like I said, I'm a big advocate on the NBA rookie structuring how they're doing right now. If we know it's all the rookie guys getting paid, that rookie extension, these guys have to come and say, hey, I need to get paid. They have to come up there and say, we need to get paid or we're not going to play running back. Period. Like nobody, like, listen, I don't want to play running back. Put me someplace else. I
do have a slight joke for this. And one way for the running backs to get paid is if their Saudi oil money comes to the NFL. When that happens, and they just start and they start throwing out guaranteed contracts, they'll get paid right away. They have the money to guarantee fully around the outside.
$1 billion contracts for a year. Like, hey, yo, what is going on, bro?
You bring that Saudi oil money to the NFL, they're gonna pay those running backs. They'll be like,
Yeah.
oh, sure.
They should all just walk out and just not even show. Like every running back in the league should just not show up for week one. Like, it'll never, ever, ever happen for a lot of obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But could you imagine if that happened though? They just all just
Bruh.
yo, we're just not every single running back on every depth chart in the league. Just be like, all right, we're just not gonna fucking show up, do something or not, and then man, the Titans will be fucked.
Yeah,
Damn.
The Titans will be fucked.
Oh my god. Our final segment, like we had the YouTube going on, it would be, the graphic in my pod be like Diamond. So let's just pretend like the graphic is going and you hear a baseball sound. We'll work on it for the next time. Hopefully my laptop gets back this week. But on to baseball. The Yankees and the Mets aren't doing well. I still think the Yankees are in a better position than the Mets, and they'll kind of disagree.
A bit?
I mean, do you agree or disagree? Is what
a bit is underselling it, sir. Y'all are 8 games out of a playoff spot. Like, yeah, a bit's underselling it a little bit.
Yeah, there's a long way to go for the Mets.
A smidgen.
Right. I'll say this much: the Yankees are they're in a tough division. They won 3 in a row. They're not out of the wild card. Only 2 games out of the wild card, so there's definitely a chance. While the Mets are 7 games out of the wild card. Judge should come back. They look kind of bad. They were falling apart at one point in time, but Stanton got hot. I think he had 6 home runs in his like it was last 10 games that back, whatever.
Yes.
So he's gotten hot, and he's not going to win the division clearly. But they can go. They can get healthy and be a wild card team. The Mets, however, are dog shit. I have no problem saying and admitting that they're dog shit. I'm gonna say what changed. We all know what changed. For those who pay attention to baseball, it's not the offense. It's the fact that the Mets don't have any pitching. Like, this is a team that had a team ERA under 4 last year, and their team ERA is like almost 5 this year. Because their batting average, home runs, like everything's on pace offensively. Everything's on pace. I mean, Pete Alonso has been abysmal of late since they came back from injury. I don't know how hurt he is, but he had 24 home runs before the injury. He has had 2 since. 2 6. He's terrible. He still leads the team in home runs and RBI and on-base percentage. Sorry, not on-base percentage. Sorry. I think it's OPS. But terrible. Like, terrible. As a matter of fact, no, he doesn't lead OPS. Francisco Alvarez does, followed by Nimmo Alonso. But he's been bad. And I said after the All-Star game, I said, I think he needs to stop doing the home run derby. Not because he's messing up his swing, it's just that he focuses so much on this bullshit event that's fun, but he's taking it way too serious. And I think
he gotta win something.
Jesus.
Oh God. He won twice.
I'm wrong?
He won twice. Just stop it.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. He got to win something because he ain't winning shit in October.
Yeah. You going to take that case?
I'm trying to be nice about this. Whichever has angst of the team is, last place.
I can't defend the Mets player.
At least we're not in last place.
Don't do that. don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
At least we're not in last place. But I'm serious. The Mets have scored 438 runs. Like, they're right there as far as scoring, is concerned. Their pitching is trash. You invested in Verlander, which a lot of people thought was going to be a good move. But I also said that, hey, if he plays well, yeah, but he's scoring. Eventually, the pendulum swings. It's a drop off. He wasn't that great last year. He was one of the side. He wasn't that.
Max Scherzer's underperformed a little bit, hasn't he?
Yes, Scherzer is.
I mean, very politely, but yes.
Scherzer has had a year like this. He's had a year like this before, where it's like he's not that great, but it could be worse. I mean, the ERA is up to 4.2, which is bad. But I believe it was before he got hurt, like 2020, when he was kind of struggling or whatever. But he's actually no, it's 2011. He's still serviceable. Like he can still do something. You know what I mean? He's still serviceable. He's still still can give you at least 6 innings, which what the next need right now.
Senga's a good pitcher though. Like Kodai Senga has been a Senga.
Senga's a good pitcher. Yeah, Senga's a good pitcher. Yeah, like his strikeout per 9 innings is 10.2. Scherzer. So it's not he's terrible. The ball placement is awful. So he's getting wild.
So what do you think they should do at the deadline?
They should sell. And the reason why is because we have so much young talent. The season's over. The season's over. What the Mets should do, trade Jeff McNeil, that's their best piece.
Whoa. I just wanted to let it be. I know how Mets fans feel about Jeff McNeil. I just want it to be known that I do not endorse what Case just said. I'm just going to leave it at that.
That's fine.
Case
Trade Jeff McNeil. That's your best piece because you have somebody in the minors right now who's tearing it up. What's his name? Mauricio. Mauricio. You already see what Alvarez is doing. Like Alvarez was a stud. You already see what he's doing now. You got Beatty. You still got everybody. All your position players are in under contract and stuff like that. McNeil's a question mark. He's not hitting well this year. You don't want him in the outfield, and he's going to plug up second base. People talk about it's about Guillorme. It's not about Guillorme. It's about McNeil. Trade McNeil, and make room for Ronnie to come up and play. You can't trade Verlander because nobody will take up that money. You can't trade Scherzer. No one's going to take up that money. But if someone's dumb enough to offer, trade Scherzer. If someone's dumb enough to offer, take Scherzer. Because Scherzer can go to an American League team and help somebody as a number 4, number 5 down the stretch. But it's time to sell. You're not going to come back and be a wild card team. All of a sudden, everyone's going to fucking learn how to pitch. Your rotation is trash outside of one person. Your bullpen is awful outside of maybe 2 people. Sell. Let the kids fucking play.
You got Buck Showalter though. That man doesn't like to let the kids play. Listen,
Jude. And Kevin said it to me before. He said, I can't wait for the wheels fall off. And I'm like, Buck Showalter gets fired this offseason, which he will, and the Mets bring on somebody else, plus the young guys they have, and they finally figure out that they need pulses when they pitch, we'll be right back in the mix. But the major difference between last year and this year is the type there's no Casey, there's no Taiwan Walker. There's no who else was here last year? There's no DeGrom. We lost a lot of guys in rotation. We lost Seth Lugo in the bullpen. Edwin Diaz is out for the season. I think he was pitching. He was doing some training. It's possible come back this season. There's no reason to rush back. But there's literally no reason for the Mets to hold on to the season. Let's sell. You messed up. You messed up. And I know Kev will say it, and I know other people will say it. You can't just throw money at baseball players. You can't just say, we have a $400 million roster. We're going to win a World Series. Because the Dodgers have done that before and haven't won shit. The Yankees have done it before and haven't won shit. The Red Sox have done it before and haven't won shit.
It's not that easy.
It's not that easy. You can't throw money at everybody. So,
Those baseball owners are feeling vindicated right now. They're like, see, told you so. Told you that's why we don't pay this.
Jokes aside, like you bring up a good point. Like I know you're partially kidding, but the Padres and the Mets this is not good for the game of baseball, dude. Like it's really not. They went on them big ass spending sprees and then they both fucking suck. That's not good for the game. Like the owners don't need an excuse. Don't get me wrong. They're just not going to spend if they don't want to spend. They don't need an excuse. But I mean, shit, they have a built-in one. Like, look at the Mets. What happened to them? They spent all that money and look at them. Look at the Padres. Look at them. Like they spent all that money and look at them. Now, I will say this as far as what the Yankees should do at the deadline. I mean, I think they should buy. I think they should buy a specific type of player. 1 that could hit. 2 that could hit for power. I don't give a fuck if they hit for contact. I don't give a fuck if they field well. Get guys who can hit the ball at the ballpark credibly. Like that's all I'm really asking for at the deadline. You're 2 games out of the playoffs. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to sell if you're 2 games out of the playoffs. Because and also, what are the Yankees going to sell any fucking way? Like they can sell relievers. That's about it. Like they're not gonna trade Glaber. They're not gonna trade Volpe. LeMahieu is dust. Donaldson's even worse than dust. Whatever word that is. Rizzo's dust. Like they don't have a catcher. Like there's not a whole lot here to fucking
I
sell.
feel
So you might as well just go ahead.
The Yankees are automatic. I feel like half of the Yankees roster is automatic outs. Like Rizzo, Josh Donaldson, IKF. Like I feel like every time you see them on the game log, it's just
It's
like ground
so
out,
tough to
ground
watch.
out, ground out, ground out.
Rizzo broke out a little bit Sunday. We'll see how far that takes him. I don't take anything serious that happens against the Royals. Just don't. So I don't know what to take from that. He broke out a little bit. We'll see where it goes. But I think they should buy. And I think baseball really did the trade deadline a major disservice by expanding the fucking playoffs to where half the fucking teams make it. Like they did the trade deadline a major disservice because not everybody thinks they're in it because they are. And it's like, yeah, the Yankees are 2 games out of a playoff spot, right? Let me tell you, I watched the Yankees give or take every day at some point. Like I may watch 9 innings, I may watch 2. I don't watch every out of every game. I'm gonna have to start because I have a fucking show coming out about this shit. So I'm gonna have to restart watching every single game, every single inning. But bruh, I watched them, motherfucker. They need God to be contender for a World Series, and I'm sitting here at 2 minutes ago saying that they should buy because they're 2 games out of a fucking playoff spot. So why wouldn't you buy? So it's just. Like this is what I mean. Like when it was when the playoffs was 4 teams, hell, 5 teams, 4 in the wild card, right? You had a more concentrated focus on who was buyers and who was sellers because everybody wasn't fucking good or close to good in this case, or good adjacent to be specific.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's why the whole thing with Steve Cohen talking about, we'll see what happens. Like, look, you guys were 500 at the deadline, and you couldn't see the shit since then. Like, like Stephon gave us hell. And I'm like, hey, we're right there. Like we're 4.5 out of first. We're right there for the wild card spot. And
Stephon, he's popping champagne right now. He was right.
Right.
You were right.
He was right. Like the season's over. But it's like now it's time
wait till his Bengals losing the playoffs again. But yeah, keep going.
But now it's time to sell, right? And they're like, oh, we'll see. Like, and to Kevin's point, and he's spot on. The expanded playoffs is like teams are like waiting for somebody like fall off in like September. Like there's still time. Oh my God, there's still time. Somebody might fall off. Like some major injury might happen very soon, and then we have a chance to sneak in and lose in this wild card game. So it's kind of annoying. Should the Yankees be buyers? I mean, yeah, but people talking about Shohei Ohtani. Can we touch on that real quick? I know Jude was talking about it on the timeline, and I chose not to talk about it because it's just like the Angels are a bad franchise. They're a bad franchise. And Kev can attest to this. How many teams have generational talent twice and on the same roster and can't do dog shit with it in baseball?
Not many.
Not many. Like, we know what San Diego just did as far as spending a whole bunch of money, but I mean, that's neither here nor there. This is guys that you either drafted or selected.
And with the Padres, to be fair to them, it's a sample size of 1 season.
Right.
Like we've had Shohei's been an Angel for 5 years, and Mike Trout's been an Angel for even longer than that, and they just can't get right.
Just can't get right. So the idea that Shohei shunned the Yankees to go to Anaheim. People that's like the not so big elephant in the room. Like, he's going to the Yankees. Like Shohei shunned the Yankees. Like, got an opportunity. Like, I'm gonna go to Anaheim. Which poo on you, Shohei. Like, you probably would have a better career in the Yankees than the Yankees than do Anaheim. But realistically, people were saying, well, he's going to go to the Dodgers, and I'm like, you think the Angels are going to trade him? You think that they're not going to ask for a mint from the Dodgers to trade him?
They're not trading him to the Dodgers.
Right.
Unless the Dodgers just blow everybody away with an offer, they're not trading him to the Dodgers. And the Dodgers are not going to do that. They're not trading him to the Dodgers.
Right. And if you say, some people say, oh, the Mets, like, the Mets don't give him a lot of prospects, and they're not in any position to do that. I think Shohei doesn't get traded. I think he becomes a free agent, and people are going to go mad dash and spend as much money as they can to get him. And I think that's when you break it down to Dodgers, Mets. I personally would wish and love for Ohtani to be a Met. That'd be a game changer for next year. And I'm going to put my bid in and say Ohtani is a Met next year. But most likely, more than likely, he ends up like San Diego or the Dodgers. If it's
I
a
think he's going to
small,
end up with a mystery team.
you think so? Like, it's not going to be.
Like, I will say it. I think he ends up a Cub.
Oh, that would be terrible.
Yeah, I don't think it's great either. But like, I know people. Let's just put it this way. And like the Cubs are preparing to make the same joke I made earlier. They're preparing to show home for Shohei. Like uncensored home, bro.
Fuck.
They're preparing to show uncensored home.
Rose home.
Oh, bro.
Like,
fucking
who the?
black
I mean,
hole.
would Seiya Suzuki be a part of that trade? I'm assuming.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean-
he loves Seiya. No,
Oh.
I'm talking about the offseason. I'm talking about the offseason.
Oh,
Yeah,
off.
free agency.
No,
Right.
I was, like,
Oh,
from
free-
what I heard,
oh,
like,
okay.
Yeah, from what I heard, a part of the reason they didn't make the play for Trey Turner has been really bad for them, by the way. Part of the reason they didn't make the play for Trey Turner that they were saving up all their coins to make a massive, big run at Shohei, and yeah, they're gonna kind of use Seiya Suzuki as the puppet here, as the hey, yeah, Seiya, hey, here he is. They're gonna kind of use him as that, but. Yeah, like I wouldn't be surprised if it was the Cubs, because like as much as like we're talking about what his dollar valuation is, right? Because yes, it's a unique free agency, like we've never seen anything like it. Do we really think like some MLB team is going to pony up $600 million? Because I don't know.
Oh.
I'm not going to say no. I don't know. I have nothing to compare this to, but like they tend to hold their money a little bit. Now at the same time, you had multiple teams offering Aaron Judge $40 million a year. And love Aaron Judge, not trying to shit on him, but like Shohei is basically Aaron Judge with the bat, but also an ace. So it's like he might get $60 million. I don't fucking know. We'll see what his free agency ends up being. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up on some mystery team, like maybe the Mariners. Like I don't know if the Mariners are going to pony up or are going to be in that tax bracket, like as far as his money goes. But you never fucking know. So. I don't know. We'll see.
Reds? I mean, that was the team I was thinking about.
If the Reds are going to do that, they might as well just trade for him because they're not signing the free agents.
Right.
But
Yeah,
if they were to get him on the
They're
trade
cheap.
market, they'd become a contender immediately.
Yeah, they're too cheap to pay him.
Yeah, they're not.
He's going to go to a major city. That like a mystery team being the Cubs, it's still a major city, it's still Chicago, not a small city. Like I said, Steve Cohen has the capital, and if he sells this season, then yeah, set yourself up because your outfield would be not your out. Well, he wouldn't be outfield, but your rotation would be better. You know what I mean? And you'd have another bat and a pitcher. Like you're solving two problems at once. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Now, I wouldn't want Buck Schultz to be in charge of that. That's for damn sure. So if the Mets were one of those teams, like, hey,
Buck Showalter's baseball genius doesn't move you.
sell and put a bid in for Shohei Max. Solve two problems at once. Get a pitcher and a batter. But like Kev said, it's probably another team. I figure he might go to San Diego. I think he's on the West Coast. I think he likes the West Coast a lot. That was one of the rumors. He likes the West Coast a lot. So we'll see. But that's it. That's pretty much it. I don't know if there's anything else to add. Jude, do you have any thoughts on the Yankees and the Mets and trade deadline?
Well, the Yankees are a funny team because they just have a bunch of automatic outs in like every important spot pretty much. Like Anthony Rizzo hit his first home run in like literally 2 months actually.
2.5 months though. Yeah.
You have Josh Donaldson, you have IKF, of course. You pretty much have a bunch of automatic outs. It's kind of crazy that they're this good, but it's because of their pitching. Like their pitching's been I mean, just a casual observation. Forgive me if I'm wrong.
No,
but their
no, the
pitching
pitching has kept them afloat. But damn sure it's not the offense.
Yeah,
and
not
as
the
for the
offense.
Yes, the offense. Yeah.
and as for the Mets, it just feels like Buck Showalter needs to let a lot of these white men go and pay the minorities. We're just gonna cut to the chase. Let these old white men go, play the minorities. It's time. The Mets season's over. The Mets season's over. Yes, it's time. The Mets season's pretty much over. They're not going to go anywhere. The Braves are like once again being the Braves. The Marlins are better than them. It's done. Let them all go. Let Mark Canha go. Let Daniel. I don't know what he's doing there, but let him go. Tommy Pham's okay. Brandon Nimno's okay, but it's like let these men go. Play the minorities. Have some fun. Let your team be exciting. That's about my take for it, really. General baseball takes. The teams that were traditionally good, Astros, Yankees, Dodgers, they're kind of like okay-ish this year. And I guess that's just the natural ebb and flow of things. The Pirates are back in last place.
Right. The fun teams are the small market teams right now. Those are the fun teams. Like, these are having fun. Cincinnati's having fun. Arizona's having fun. I mean, even if you want to say Miami, who for somehow is going to make it to the playoffs this year. Like I told Kev, I said, I don't know how they do it. And Kev said they're going to fall out.
They fell off?
No, I think they're still in second place. I think they're still in second. Yeah, they're still in second. They're 54-27. I mean, Philly caught up.
They're outside of the wild card right now. So
yeah, Philly caught up. So Philly's right there with them. But baseball is fun. A lot of teams who weren't expected to be good, like the Baltimore Orioles. Baltimore Orioles are Tampa Bay is
They're one of the best teams in the league right now, aren't they? Baltimore? They're literally like one of the best teams. Which
if anybody should be a buyer, it's them. But I don't think they're gonna go that crazy. They might add a piece here and a piece there, but like if anybody should be on the Angels line every day, like hey, Shohei, what's up? It's Baltimore. It makes too much fucking sense. They have all the prospects you could want, really, and it's like, yo, if Baltimore gets Shohei Ohtani, they're the team nobody wants to face. Simple and plain. They're the team nobody wants to face. Like, you do not want to see Baltimore if they get Shohei. Like, they have a bunch of pitchers right now who are doing well, but it's kind of like nobody believes them, though. Like, do you believe Kyle Bradish is good? I don't. Like, I don't know. He has a 2.9 ERA, so maybe I should start respecting him. But like, I don't know what it's going to take for me to believe it. I just don't believe it. But if you add a Shohei to that team, like, they become legit. But it doesn't even have to be him. Like, they can add Lucas Giolito and be a problem too. Like somebody lesser than Shohei. So I don't know. But
somebody take Max. Somebody needs some pitching. How about Tampa Bay? Tampa Bay needs some help. Somebody, you know what I mean? Somebody come by from us. We're definitely going to sell it. Yeah, I mean, but baseball's fun. Baseball's fun this year for certain teams, not for every team. Baseball's fun.
The Braves are fun.
Yeah, Braves are fun. They have a good balance of veterans and youth.
They be hitting the piss out of the ball. I love it.
Yeah, the Phillies are annoying.
Like, fuck y'all talking about we need to hit more singles. Fuck that.
I wish we were doing video because I wanted to talk about the at bat that Bryce Harper had. We just basically didn't swing at all. And I was like,
shit was so funny.
Bryce Harper is a guy I read about when I was 19, 20, I believe. Like, I was very young when I first heard about Bryce Harper, his and the Nationals expansion team, all that stuff like that. I was very young, and I heard about this kid.
No, you were not 19 or 20, Case.
Well, I might have been in my
mid-20s.
Right. I don't remember.
You were not 19.
But no, listen. Don't put my business out there. Like that.
You put it out there enough. Your age starts with 4, my nigga. Like,
my age starts with 4.
This was
wow. That's crazy. That's crazy. It is. It does start with 4, but still, like, you don't put my business out there like that.
Damn.
If it makes you feel any better, my age starts with 3. It makes you feel. I'll put my business in the street too. And Jude's age starts with 5.
Jeez. Wow.
But listen, this guy was supposed to be, because he was supposed to be the god in baseball, and he's had a great career. Don't get me wrong, but he's a dick. He's a dick. He's a dick. Like he's only 30 years old.
Correct.
Like, he's only 30. Like Bryce Harper's been in the league since he was 19 years old.
He's been in the league forever, it feels like. But
bro, he has so much baseball left. I mean, outside of injury, because this season is not really a great season for him. But he's only 30 years old, bro. And he may not reach the pinnacles that people expect him to reach. He may not reach, let's say 500 home runs. He may not reach 500 home runs. He may not reach
Hall of Fame, though.
Really Hall of Fame. He may not reach 3,000 hits. You know what I mean? But man, he's a dickhead. And he doesn't have a ring. Oh man, that's just so crazy. He doesn't have a ring. Yeah. I thought you were the champ. But that's it, guys. It's been we're back. At least for audio wise. Like I said, wait till the laptop comes in. Make sure you follow Jude Jackson at Jude Jude Truth. Follow Kevin Lewis at KLEW24. Follow me at ACase Online. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at MIPod69. I almost forgot. And follow us on TikTok. I'm dropping the videos. The videos are getting 1,000 views. We must be on TikTok. Yeah, there were a couple of 1,000 view videos. So follow us on TikTok. Middle underscore initial underscore pod on TikTok. Man, it's been great. Training camp is fun. We're going to do another giveaway. Again, shout out to people we were able to give away. Shout out to NJ Farrell. We were able to give NJ Farrell 2 tickets. That was courtesy of Jude. So I gave Jude 3 tickets. He was able to give away 2. Shout out to Tori, Deacon Tori, another one of our Patreons. He actually gave me a ticket. I was able to, he gave Khalil a ticket on my behalf. And I actually gave, forgot his name, Kareem. He has the Milf Hunter jersey on. Kareem Riyad. Or Rayad. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it properly, but he had the Zach Wilson Mills Hunter jersey, and he actually met up with Garrett Wilson twice. He's met up with camp, and Garrett had blessed him with some stuff. I didn't get a chance to meet up with you, Kareem, on Saturday. My apologies. If we get a chance to meet up in August, definitely going to meet up, take some photos and stuff like that. Shout out to Dan for all the amazing photos. And shout out to you, Jude, for taking amazing photos as well. Tell the people where to find your photos so they can purchase your prints.
Oh yeah, you go to judejackson.smugmug.com. Yes, the name's very funny, but they make good prints. They have assortment of products. You can get prints, you can get greeting cards, you can get quilts if you wanted. So it's judejackson.smugmug.com, like SMUGMUG.com. It's on the link in my bio on Twitter. It's on the link in the bio on my Instagram. I'll probably plug my link on Twitter after we're all done. But please go on there. I have some photos of training camp that I really enjoyed taking. I also have some photos of the city that I really enjoy. So please go on there. If you like them, want to display them in your apartment, set some little moves, buy the pictures. You'll love them. Set some moves.
Set some moves.
You get a nice picture of a flower or something. They're like, oh, look at that. Oh,
set some moves with some nice training camp. Aaron Rodgers.
So they're gonna get one of Jude's prints and put it in their room and have people show a hole.
Yes.
We should close out on that note. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
With that being said, we even say stay inspired. Do you say stay inspired by 69? That's still a thing. Stay inspired by 69. Peace.
Take it easy, guys.